Alas, no. Sometimes that's more of a headache than that's where I think okay, yeah. 12 is probably fine. Please, doesn't get to come out until tomorrow. That's 2 weeks until walking into everything. And if you're trying to get past her, she's coming at you like this, and she finds your head to block you. Like, no, no matter where you go, there's a cone in there.
All right, microphone's all on? With the hour being 7:02 PM, we'd like to call to order the Village of Brookfield Committee of the Whole meeting of Monday, June 12th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Here?
Trustee Cote?
Here.
Trustee Hendricks?
Here.
Trustee Niramatsu?
Here.
Trustee Gahuli?
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Here.
President Garvey absent.
So our first item up for discussion relates to the banners. I'm wondering if we should put a time limit on this?
Yes. 2.5 minutes.
Take it away, Cindy.
Based on our
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, based on our conversation at the last committee of the whole, I was directed to come back with a temporary plan that would get us through the fiscal year and utilize the banners that are still in good condition, reduce the number of banners on Ogden Avenue, and to fill in the holes where we have fixtures that have not been used to create new banners. So the plan that I included in the board packet has those items in it. This one is for downtown, and this would require the creation of 2 new banners. One would be branded for the Enjoy Brookfield, and the second for Music on Grand, and utilizing the existing banners that are still in good condition. And the counts are there in front of you. If you have any questions on any of these, I'm happy to explain the thought process, but the thumbnails that you're seeing on the new ones they were literally quick drafts I threw together just for the purpose of tonight. We do that again also on.
So Cindy,
I'm
do you
sorry.
think is it reasonable that we could have these for July 1st?
Sure. So the vendors that I spoke to can turn them around very quickly.
Okay.
And especially the banner for Enjoy Brookfield, because we already have the graphics for that, so it's going to be pretty simple and pretty clean, pretty similar to what you see up there right now, and same with Music on Grand.
And then so the left side would have the Enjoy Brookfield, the right side would have the Music on Grand.
Correct. And the others that are remaining are already two-sided, that would cover both fixtures.
And then what happens with the come out and play with the dates? I was kind of confused on that. Come out and play is July 1st, as are the other 2.
Yeah. So when, you know what, I apologize, that may have been an error. We'll have to fix that.
So the idea is Enjoy Brookfield and Music
And the
on
Grand would,
go from July 1st to September 30th.
right. I'm sorry,
Come
thank
out.
you,
Okay.
thank you.
Come out and play.
If you look on the right-hand side, everything on the right is the timing for that, is for the right side of the fixtures, thank you, Tim. And on the left is the left side of the fixture. So, as Tim was saying, Enjoy Brookfield would be on the left, Music on Grand on the right, and then same with Come Out and Play, we would alternate those. They would be alternated. So if you count, we have a total of 36 fixtures, 18 of which would be the Enjoy Brookfield, and the others would be Come Out and Play.
So maybe the dates on that would be from like,
So they would go up at the same time,
It'd be alternate.
but they're alternating. So the fixtures
Oh.
would be alternating.
okay.
So one would be Come Out and Play, the next one would be Enjoy
Correct.
Brookfield and Music on
Correct.
Grand, and that,
Correct.
Oh, okay.
that's
It's the only way we could maximize our existing ones, because we didn't have enough to put up all of them. There's more fixtures than there are banners that are in good quality condition. So we had to create new ones, and the only way to do that, it's kind of it was a puzzle, was to create new ones that filled in for that piece.
Questions
Does that make
on-
sense?
Sounds great.
Okay.
We're already ahead of the list.
Really good job.
yeah. I think as long as there's some continuity between them, and whether it's the color or something, but I know you said that's just a quick, quick mock-up, but
Well, so that is the brand for Enjoy Brookfield.
yeah.
So this would go up for the entire year.
Okay.
And again, you're looking at only doing half. We've also reduced on Ogden. We've taken out 20 fixtures. There might be a few more based on their condition that we would need to take out. But I based it on 20, giving us a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay.
And when you
again-
talk about fixtures, are we talking about the brackets?
The brackets, correct. And again, this is alternating.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
And the final one is Eight Corners. And again, this one would have Enjoy Brookfield and just a basic Welcome to Eight Corners. We're doing the left and right side. We have enough of the Come Out and Play, the chamber, to do both sides. It's just the, from September 1 through October, we have enough to be able to do half. So what I'm trying to do is fill in that blank like we did on the downtown. And again, this is very short term. We're talking about through the end of the year.
Can I ask what the row on the very bottom is different from the ones above? Is it just that one will return?
It returns.
It just, that one just comes back again, gets put back up? Okay.
Yeah, to get us through till March.
Comments, questions?
Are these double too? Are they two?
No, mm-mm.
They're all.
So the only ones that are double fixtures, so side by side, are the ones on Grand, or in the downtown area. Those on Eight Corners and on Ogden Avenue are not. They're double-sided, they're single unit
Okay.
items.
Comments, questions?
I have one more question, and I promise I'm done. So for the banners at Eight Corners, this would then fill all the ones that are empty right now. So it's the one, we have banners up already, so all of the poles would be utilized,
This
even the
takes-
ones around the circle.
Yes, this takes in account everything that there has a fixture.
Cool.
7:09 PM.
Sorry, it was my watch.
No, you timed me. Good job, Sarah.
All right, time's up.
Not intentional.
Time's up.
I promised I was done.
The last part is, we're hoping the board, as you said the last time we talked about this, refer the whole issue to the Beautification Commission. We will talk to them as we go forward into subsequent years about whether they want a complete redesign, if they recommend coming back to you with a complete redesign of the banner program and any ideas they come up with. That's what the board desires.
Okay,
Works for me.
are we sure you don't want to talk about a name?
No,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Cindy.
So we have a temporary plan.
That
right.
was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't 2.5 minutes, but almost.
Oh, I know.
All right, moving on to the second item as it relates to code amendments associated with implementation of e-ticketing and adjudication management.
This will probably take longer than 2.5 minutes.
There, now you jinxed us.
Thanks, Tim. Right. Good evening, Trustee Ketchmark and the rest of members of the board. Thank you for giving me a few minutes here to discuss, as Tim mentioned, the consideration for code amendments associated with the implementation of e-ticketing and adjudication management. This is in reference to the contract that, as you are aware, the village signed with DACRA Tech this year to automate the issuance of citations all the way through local court hearings. The contract was awarded, and you allowed us to do that on March 27th this year. The goal since then has been, and again, not to sound redundant, but is we are focusing heavily now towards full implementation of the automation of these issuance of e-citations and the adjudication management. Also, in doing that, we are looking to streamline certain local ordinance offenses that allow a person to avoid court, local court here if they choose. In doing that, we hope to expedite adjudication court hearings. And finally, we also, in another matter connected to this, we want to ensure that there's full non-payment of fines and fees, that those responsibility be to the debtor. So going back to that first part, staff has been working diligently towards the implementation of this new process. We've reviewed all village ordinances that have to be transferred to DACRA in this automation process. In doing so, staff has recognized a few items for consideration to be changed to ensure the most effective and efficient services. The first item for consideration is a proposal to add several local ordinance violations to Village Code Section 54-112. It currently only allows a person to plead liable and pay a preset fine when it comes to a parking citation or a vehicle-related, typically we call it equipment violation, to avoid a court appearance. All other ordinance violations require a mandatory in-person local court appearance without the option to plead liable and avoid a court appearance. The police department reviewed the fines associated with liable or guilty pleas that have been made over the past year, and it determined that $100 was the average fine that was assessed when those that would come and plea liable at court hearings. That means they would bypass going through an entire hearing and just accept a guilty plea. So essentially, staff recommends that most of the officer-generated local ordinance violations allow a person to decline a court appearance. Put some, excuse me, yes, but pay, yes.
Mention that yet.
Decline a court appearance, but pay the fee. These type of offenses would include, but are not limited to, park closed from sunset to sunrise, possession of alcoholic liquor in public places, or the sale or discharge of fireworks and sparklers. So these are the types of offenses that an officer would typically cite on view, and in those situations, what we are proposing is that we allow that defendant to decide if they want to avoid court, to plea liable and pay a fine. Third-party complaints, repeated same offenses that are committed, and juvenile-related offenses. Again, examples would be disorderly conduct as a third-party complaint, repeated same offenses we often see sometimes with like dog-related offenses, and again, juvenile offenses that would require an in-person appearance with an adult. Those would all continue to be mandatory in-person appearances. We would accomplish that ultimately through police department policies and procedures. So, and just to further illustrate, from 2022 to the present, approximately 61 to 64% of those that were issued local ordinance violations pled liable without requesting a hearing. That's why we believe that this would be something that would more effectively work our way through adjudication hearings. As I mentioned and Tim assisted, Most officer-generated local ordinance tickets should permit the person to be issued the citation to plead liable if desired. Our recommendation is that they would then pay a $100 fine, which is what was determined by the average over the last year. And so that ultimately is the first topic for discussion. The second item for consideration was also discovered during staff review for DACRA implementation. Non-payment of fines and fees as a result of parking, compliance, and local ordinance violations, as we just discussed, results in the engagement of the collection services through our contracted company, Municipal Collection Services Incorporated, MCSI. That's what we use to seek restitution for outstanding balances. From 2021 until the present, which is about two and a quarter years, MCSI has recovered approximately $133,950 for the village. However, MCSI also assessed a 30% collection agency commission fee that was subtracted from the funds they retrieved. Therefore, the MCSI commission fee was approximately $40,185, and the remaining village funds totaled approximately $93,765. That was the money that was finally retained for the collection. DACRA has informed us that neighboring communities and beyond do not incur the collection agency commission on themselves, but those costs have been passed on to the debtors responsible for paying their past due and outstanding balances that have been sent to a collections agency. So staff proposes to do the same here. By passing an ordinance, the village adopts the ability to receive the full value of the fine or fee when the full value of the debt plus commission is recovered. Sorry, that was what I was speaking to. As the police department prepares for full implementation of a more automated and streamlined e-ticketing issuance all the way through adjudication, we believe that implementing these proposed considerations will allow us to operate more efficiently and effectively. So just to summarize the financial impact, by allowing persons to plead liable without a court appearance, and we would standardize fines, it would be recommended to be at $100 in those situations. The potential average recovery would be approximately $17,860 annually if the village does not incur the collection agency fee. That's number 2. So the recommendations are to improve an ordinance to allow certain local ordinance violations to be pled liable with an associated fine without a court appearance required. And number 2, to approve an ordinance that would allow the village to receive the full value of the fine and fees outstanding by a debtor. Thank you.
Comments, questions from the board?
I have a question. I support this. I think I've had a dog get out of my house maybe once, and my husband had to appear in court. He was hoping to bring the dog with him so that the dog would have to appear in court. So I think it's a great move. I was wondering about the fees, though. Are they going to be, I guess, you said the average is 100. What's the lowest, I guess, citation fee? Is that a huge increase from maybe the lowest fee?
My understanding is, I mean, our adjudication hearing officer has a range. I'm not, I'll look into the exact bottom line. I know that a default maximum judgment can go up to $750, and that's typically what the hearing officer assesses when we have no-shows. Now, in those instances, the person that was issued a citation can motion to have that citation brought back up. Typically, then he will dismiss the $700 default judgment and then proceed forward with the hearing, and then determine a fine based off that hearing.
Is there a fine lower than $100?
I believe, I don't want to quote the wrong number, but I believe the range is somewhere from about $50 up to $750. I am sure of the maximum judgment. So, and yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate. 50, I believe. There might be some, for certain ordinance violations, if it doesn't have a specific penalty within that chapter for that specific ordinance violation, say dog at large, then it defaults to the general penalty section, which I believe for the Village of Brookfield has a minimum of $50, a maximum of $750. So the $100 for the mail-in would be a slight step up from what the minimum could be. But as Chief Caravella noted, the hearing officer does have discretion in assessing those fines. So it ultimately is up to the hearing officer, or the administrative adjudicator, to assess the fine. So not necessarily to go along with the minimum, but whatever they deem is appropriate regarding the circumstances of the ticket.
Okay, so if you plead liable, it would be 100 no matter what, right? Wait, that's,
As,
If you do, yeah, in this instance, if you're pleading liable without a hearing and mailing it in, the fine would be $100 for that citation.
okay, thank you.
They could still choose to come and do the hearing
absolutely.
if they thought they should be $50.
Yes, yes. The intention is to provide this as an option, but at the end of the day, you know, anyone who wants to see due process through that, you know, through that manner is still afforded that option.
Gotcha.
I appreciate the efficiency that this brings. I think it can make it a lot easier, like you said, if people can't take the time off work to come in to pay a simple ticket, they can just take care of it right away electronically. I think it's great, and it saves also, it doesn't, you know, kind of clog up the schedule with the adjudicator, and make it easier on everybody.
To your point, Trustee Gilhooly, and we, you know, we were putting rough numbers together. We saw what appears to be over 60% of our citations that would come before the hearings, they would plead liable without any hearing at all. So potentially that there's a 60% upswing of, we could reduce some of these people from coming into.
Which reduce our costs too, and paying them, right? Staff costs.
Yes.
Yep.
Other comments, questions?
Is there a way now to pay electronically online, village website to pay any of the tickets? Because I was looking for that, I was looking for it again, because I was like, I don't see that anywhere. So, because I kept seeing e-ticketing, I'm like, okay, does that mean it's going to implement with the next website, or it's going to implement with their current one?
I believe this is part of the DACRA
Okay.
implementation, that they will become an option to pay.
And it'll only be for those violations, so if you had something else and you put it in there, it'd be like, this one has to go to adjudication, so they'll get warning up front. Right,
That is not part of this, but with DACRA implementation, when it's fully implemented, there will be the ability to pay online for tickets,
So what
which
do
we
we-
currently do not have.
and we're looking at what kind of time frame for this?
For full implementation?
Yes.
This is part of that process. Training dates have already been established with the
Yes.
police department, so potentially by end of summer.
Yep.
And that'll be available on the website by end of summer.
Correct.
Anything further? So we'll go up for approval in a couple weeks then? You ready for that?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, that concludes the items on our regular business agenda. Would like to once again open up the meeting to public comment. Anyone on my right? Anyone on my left? At this time, I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Section 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act for the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Cote, seconded by trustee Kaluzny. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Miramatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooly?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion carries.
7:24 PM. And we will stay in here, Tim, correct?